Hey everybody, it's Captain Trucker. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video I want to talk about why us Americans don't really fully understand the Philippines until we have children here. And how children in this country having them sort of changes the game. And I also want to share with you all the day that I had with my son in Bacolod City. So stay tuned. First of all, I've never built a house before in my life, and I never would have thought that one day my first house would be in this country, the Philippines, let alone in the provinces. And it's kind of mind-blowing if I think about it. Because even being in this house now with my son and everything has sort of been a surreal experience, because I worked over the road as a truck driver for so many years, and I struggled for some years before that. Like, I don't think I've actually been in a domesticated house for maybe more than 10 years. And it's kind of interesting when it's actually, you and your family's house. I kind of understand a little bit more now why people take, cleaning and taking care of things a bit more seriously and so forth. But anyway, I think as a single man, as a tourist, like most people probably come into this country, we sort of have this idea about maybe what the culture is, more in the sense of like what it can do for us in terms of the dating scene and finding women and going to beaches. And there's a lot of vlogs dedicated to stuff like that. I mean, there's even a lot of vlogs apparently that give relationship advice and stuff like that. And so that's kind of like the single man's experience in the Philippines is more, what can you do for me? and more about finding hot women and enjoying vacation and enjoying life. And those are great things. Like, I'm not being judgmental about that. Those are fun things. That should be a part of everyone's life, maybe in some way, shape, or form. And I think when a lot of guys get out here, the older ones anyway, they've sort of already been through life. They maybe have gone through divorces, career changes, ups and downs, job losses, who knows? And life can definitely beat you up. So I have a lot of empathy, more so than I used to, for these older men that come out here just wanting to live a simple life and party or whatever. I mean, I don't support it, but I understand it. But being like, when you're in your mid-30s and you're in good shape and you're starting to work again and you're making money, and then you just suddenly, you kind of are becoming a father in the Philippines, it's a bit more restrictive. Because one thing I've for sure learned is, like, it's kind of a cliche, but they talk about the family values here in this country, and it's kind of true. I think it's on a different level because, even through the ups and downs of my journey, like my son and his family, the family here has always been here for me. And I've always been able to trust them when I was gone, trust them to raise my son while I'm gone and here together. And they've always been here for me. And I put a lot of trust in the community to help build this house, because like a lot of foreigners certainly wouldn't build a house being overseas. I mean, that's obviously for most people is not a good idea. However, I think when you're tied in with good families and people, the Filipinos can be very trustworthy. And I had to put a lot of faith in my son's family because I needed the help, because I had a lot of work to do. So that's kind of something that I did grow to appreciate more. And just recently, man, like, I just see the way families separate more in the West and in America, obviously. Like, there's somebody that's close to me that just as of last night, I've sort of broke off the relationship because I can't have negativity in my life as much anymore. And, the person I've known a long time, like, some people seem to think like social media too, especially like for vloggers in the Philippines, that it's just all kind of like for grins and giggles, and it's people assume that it's just always to grow a channel, and it's always for, growth and maybe validation and popularity and trying to make money. And for many people, like, a lot of that can be true. But I think, like, the longer you do social media and YouTube, I think you realize that, well, it's not all what it's cracked up to be, right? And for me, like, this channel has been like a huge part of documenting a very important part of my life, because I just feel compelled to do it. I feel like there's a lot of other men in similar situations that need the inspiration and need the encouragement, and not everybody is willing to sort of go public. So I mean, like, this channel is like part of my life, man. Like, when I'm talking to you guys, like, this isn't like some gimmick. Like, this is a big part of my life. And be taking things too personally. And I understand that criticism, but at the same time, it is personal because it's my life. I'm sharing with you, like, my life. And so, every little intimate nuance and detail, I got to have some degree of privacy. But I've also learned that, like, being an American father vlogger in the Philippines, is that it's not what some people maybe think it is, or the way they treat it. Because believe me, like, this channel isn't paying the bills, so to speak, and it's not really intended to. But anyway, that's kind of a side note. And yeah, I kind of had to cut this person out of my life, at least for a couple years, because this is important to me, like, being here in the Philippines and raising my son here, because it's something I really believe in. And there is like younger expats that are coming out here more, probably. I was among that group, because like I said, most people that come here are probably in their 60s or 70s. I just kind of saw the writing on the wall at a younger age, and I wanted to get out of America because I just never really felt fully comfortable there. It was something about it that was just too industrial and too cold and too stressful in general. And so, yeah, like, and in being here in the Philippines, it's sort of reiterated a lot of those beliefs. And it's like, I do feel like I have a better understanding of the culture and the country, like, being a father here, because it kind of forced me to basically be more responsible in some ways, and to take things more seriously. And that it's not all about me, it's not all about me riding on a motorcycle in Dumaguete or Angeles City, like, looking for women, looking for single moms, or looking for whoever. Like, that wasn't my experience in the Philippines, and some of that could be fun too, but I'm just going to be honest, it wasn't my experience. So I kind of saw, like, the deeper layers of community and family, and like what it really means. And there is a beauty to that. There's something beautiful to that, like watching your son grow up and going through all that stuff yourself as a father. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to the Filipinos, because guys get a lot of flack, man. It's not easy, like, being an American father out here and trying to raise kids and work overseas and all these things. So, I mean, you kind of see some of that in the community, and it kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, the deeper layers of this is that I think there's a deeper lesson to be learned from appreciating these cultures once you become like a father and invest in building a house and having, like, long-term relationships, because there's something timeless about that, and it's just something that I appreciate. I appreciate the Kapwa, the interconnectedness of the families in these communities. I'll be over the road in the US for months and driving and constantly in different places, and and then I come back here and it's like people know who I am right away, and it's like I'm somebody here, and that's a nice thing. Just to wrap it up, I mean, there is something that's, like, legitimately special about that. I haven't had like the perfect life necessarily, and I've had ups and downs like other people, maybe more so than other people, maybe more extreme than some other people. However, there's something that's really beautiful about, being in a relationship with somebody through the ups and downs in family that's always there for you, like no matter what. And that's a special thing. And that's what families should be, And we don't always we don't always get that, unfortunately, in America. I mean, we talk about it. Not all, of course, there's close families in America. There is, of course. But it's pretty common that people split up, and I'm sure it happens here too in the Philippines, but it just doesn't happen as much. And I don't think we have really learned those lessons of like, this is kind of what matters, because we're always talk about freedom and independence in America, and everybody sort of has to pull their own weight, and kids are expected to sort of move out and go to college when they're 18, 20, whatever, make their own way. And that kind of stuff doesn't really happen in these countries necessarily, because there's less opportunities and stuff. It's my opinion though, is I don't think it's all necessarily money driven. I really think that these values of life and death and survival are instilled over generations. It's sort of like a collective consciousness that's maybe inherited. And that is precious. That is something to be cherished, because you see that in, like more ancient cultures. Because I don't think America has the same depth as some other places on earth in terms of that. In terms of, really surviving over generations and multiple generations. And, I'm not trying to this isn't one's good, one's bad. I'm making a very broad comparison between two cultures here. But I'll just say this, even the ups and downs I've been through over the years, my family here in the Philippines is, no matter what, has always been here for me. And it's something that I really appreciate. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this vlog, was to give back, because I felt that it was the right thing to do. And it's something that I believe in. So I appreciate everybody who watches, and thank you to the Filipinos and the Americans and everybody else in the world, and the subscribers. So please share your comments. Appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.